I think we already have Puffit Fun here today with us. Hello, Puffit Fun. How are you?
Hi, Kirana. I'm fine. How about you?
Good, good. How's the weather in Jakarta? Hopefully,
Yeah, that's pretty clear.
yeah. I think we still need to wait for Ibu Nilu, and then we could start after that.
Okay.
Mm. Hello, hello everyone. Thank you all for joining this webinar on Trademark. We are still waiting for our speaker, which is Ibu Nilu. Just join our webinar today, and then we could start right away. Um, we, if I see correctly, we have, we also have David here. Hello, David.
Hello, Kirana. How are you?
Good, good. How's everyone? I think we are just on different floors, yeah, Paya.
Yeah. Long time no see.
Long time no see.
Whole day.
Okay, so please, maybe we could just wait a little bit and then we will start right away. Hello, I think we already have Bonilu joining us today. Hello, Bonilu. Okay, I think there are some technical issues with Bonilu's microphone.
Ini apa karena partner sih
Udah nyala kok, kita udah join kok.
dari Malaysia?
Udah kelihatan ya? Aku nggak ngerti soalnya ini Google Meet ini. Saya pakai Meet Zoom. Gimana caranya biar suaraku nggak masuk ya? Nggak masuk.
Okay, now we have Ibu Niluh joining us today. Okay. Hello, Bonilu, how are you? Okay, maybe there are still some technical issues. Okay, then now that we have all speakers here, maybe we could start in a bit. Greetings to all participants tuning in to the Trademark Registration Talk Show webinar. I'm your host, Kirana, and I am thrilled to guide you through today's engaging conversation. We sincerely appreciate your presence and also participation. Presenting an exciting talk show for you, our focus today is on trademark registration, how to protect your brand's unique identity and value. So we have brought together experts from different backgrounds who will share their insights and real-life stories on these fascinating subjects. For the opening remarks, we have Pak Fitvan Bramantio as the CEO at InCorp Indonesia. And as for the speakers, we have Ibu Niluh Putu Ari Pertami Jelantik as a business owner at Niluh Jelantik Shoes. And we also have Pak Alfa Reza Azur as a senior business consultant at InCorp Indonesia. Without further ado, let's give a warm virtual welcome to our esteemed guests. Join me in a round of applause for Pak Fitvan Bramantio, Ibu Niluh Jelantik, and Pak Alfa Reza Azur. We are truly grateful for your presence today, everyone. Before we plunge into the talk show, let's quickly take a look at today's agenda. Fitvan Bramantio's opening remarks. Following that, we will also hear from Ibu Niluh Jelantik, and then we could proceed to Pak Alfa Reza Azur. And then lastly, we will also wrap up with engaging Q&A sessions. So feel free to join in the conversation by posting your questions in the Q&A box during the webinar. Your active participation is encouraged and appreciated. Now that we have a clear grasp of today's agenda, I am pleased to introduce you Pak Fitvan Bramantio, the CEO of InCorp Indonesia, who will deliver our opening remarks. With over 16 years of dedicated involvement in business and financial consultancy and also management, Pak Fitvan has assumed the role of Chief Executive Officer at InCorp Indonesia in January 2022. In this capacity, he spearheads strategic business initiatives, sets the bar high for performance, and oversees wealth management. His extensive experience and also unwavering commitment to business and financial management have equipped him with a comprehensive understanding of corporate finance, strategies for financial performance, business consulting, developing, and also corporate expansion. So we warmly welcome you, Pak Fitfan Brahmankyo, and also await your insights. Please, the virtual floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Kirana. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the trademark registration webinar of InCorp Indonesia with title Trademark Registrations, Preserving the Identity and Value of Your Brand. My name is Sifan, and I am the CEO of InCorp Indonesia. So, trademark registrations webinars provide a basic understanding of what a trademark is, why trademarks are important for us as a business owner, and how trademarks can provide legal protections for our businesses. In Indonesia, the trademark registration process has a very complex regulations and requires a deep understanding of the applicable trademarks laws. Many business owners, including me and maybe Mbok Niluh Jelantik, and all of entrepreneurs in Indonesia may not be fully aware of the benefits and necessity of brand registrations in safeguarding and protecting their brand, especially their brand identity from misuse and violations of the law. We have several cases related with this in our operations, daily operations. So it is important for us to understand how to register our brand and following Indonesia rules and regulations. And now the speakers who are very experienced in the field of trademarks will discuss the advantages gained from trademark registrations in Indonesia, such as exclusive protections, of course, preventing the use of similar trademarks, providing guidance on how to choose a strong and effective trademark, and last but not least, protecting our business investment. This webinar will provide a lot of opportunity for participants to learn from brand law experts and practitioners who have in-depth knowledge of brand registration regulations and practices in Indonesia. Participants will also get the opportunity to ask some questions, and also they can share the experience and expand their network with other professional and business owners in this webinar. Today is a very special day for us, not only because the topic is so interesting. On top of that, we also will have the honor to hear firsthand experience, valuable insights from a very successful businesswoman in Indonesia, the one and only Mbok Niluh Jelantik, or we usually call her Mbok Niluh, business owner of Niluh Jelantik Shoes, which she will sharing with us the trademark registration in Indonesia. Mbok Niluh, nice to meet you. How are you, Mbok Niluh? Believe it or not, my wife is a big fan of yours. So when I told my wife about this webinar, my wife told me that we will have a lot of insight from you. So we are more than happy to have you with us, Ibu. And secondly, we also have our senior business consultant in InCorp Indonesia, Reza. Reza also have a deep understanding and knowledge and also experience about this trademark registration in Indonesia. And he will talk about how to do the trademark registration in Indonesia with its tips and tricks, because it's important, a lot of tips and tricks related to the trademark registration in Indonesia. So we will hear a lot experience from Reza. And we would love to make this webinar as relevant as possible for all of you, the participants. So please vote in the polls over the webinar. And we will also have prizes for 3 lucky participants who can win by asking very good questions during the Q&A session. So now, let us pass it to our speakers. Thank you, and I hope you have a wonderful webinar session today. Back to you, Kirana. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Pak Fitfan, for your excellent introduction. As Pak Fitfan has mentioned, get ready with your questions because we have 3 fantastic prizes for 3 participants who ask exciting questions and things. So feel free to ask them in the Q&A chat box while the presentation continues because your participation means a lot to us. So as we transition to our next agenda, let me provide you with an overview of InCorp Indonesia's offerings. At InCorp Indonesia, we are a homegrown consultancy specializing in various market entry solutions. So to offer you a deeper insight into InCorp Indonesia, let's take a moment to watch a brief video presentation.
Hello, I'm Fitvan Brahmantio, CEO of InCorp Indonesia. As a part of InCorp Group, we strive to be a leading consulting firm of business services for clients expanding to and operating in Indonesia. We have been in the industry for over 10 years with 5 branches all over Indonesia.
Our strong presence in the Indonesian market led to us opening branches in Jakarta, Bali, Semarang, Surabaya, and Batam, as well as Ho Chi Minh City in Vietnam. This helped us set our regional footprint and led to our acquisition by InCorp Group Global Singapore, leading to the establishment of Cekindo Business International.
As we became even more integrated into InCorp Group, Cekindo Business International was later rebranded to InCorp Indonesia. We are constantly learning from the expertise of our fellow InCorp companies from 7 different countries all over the Asia-Pacific region.
We also take the initiative to look at every challenge our client may face in the expansion process so that they can focus in their core business activities. Our experts assist investors and entrepreneurs with tailor-made solutions to the complexities of Indonesian regulations.
As legal compliance can make or break your business, it is a significant aspect of business operations to have a legal team that is up to date with Indonesian regulations. When it comes to our standards, we always aim to meet national and international legal standards and ensure compliance changes are made in a timely manner.
Our consulting team is more than capable of advising you on the best practices for business setup, product registration, import, immigration consultation, business process outsourcing, as well as compliance services. We have a great, experienced team and have had the privileges of working with entities of all sizes.
With our wide range of services and experienced team, we are confident InCorp Indonesia can provide you with high-quality business solutions. We will ensure your expansion in Indonesia will be as seamless as it can possibly be. Turn your business visions into reality with InCorp Indonesia.
So that was the overview of what InCorp Indonesia is and what we do at InCorp Indonesia. So right now on your screen, there will be a barcode for a simple poll questions. So please fill them up before we carry on with the webinar. You could scan them with your phone and fill out the poll. Over the next few minutes, while we are still waiting for the polling results, we will be highlighting some fantastic offers that you won't want to miss. So in the month of August, we have 20% discount for all services. Therefore, for further information, please visit our website at InCorp Indonesia. The barcode that is listed on the screen is still the barcode for the poll questions. So if you have time, please feel free to scan them and fill them out. Okay, thank you everyone for filling out the polling, and we will now see the polling result. Okay, wow. So based on the poll, most participants here actually knows a little bit about Trademark, but will still like to know more about it. So to ease your excitement on the Trademark subject, let us all carry on with the webinar, and let's meet our next speaker, which is Ibu Niluh Putuari Pertami Jelantik, also known as Mbok Niluh or Ibu Niluh. Ibu Niluh Jelantik is the founder of Niluh Jelantik Shoes, a renowned brand in Indonesia. Her expertise in trademark registration has helped her build important connections between companies, brands, customers, shoppers, trade marketers, and also operations. For her dedication both on her professional life and social contribution, she received the following awards: Designer and Brand of the Year by the Yak, 50 Global Brand by SWA Magazine, Women of the Year by Money and I Awards, 50 Youth Women Netizen Ambassador for Creative Tourism by Mark Plus Inc. and Marketeers Magazine, The Young Inspired Sri Kandi Merah Putih by Indosat, Woman of the Year by the Yak, The Inspirators by Hello Bali as one of 9 Inspirative Women by IDN Times, 40 Under 40 by Money and I Magazine, then Pasar Marketing Champion 2016 on category Economy Creative, and also received the highest award as a Marketeer of the Year Denpasar 2016. Ernst & Young Entrepreneurial Winning Women, Bali Soul Journals, a book by Claire McElhenney and Trish McNeil, Beauty of Bali 2017, and Scholar at Fortune by U.S. State Debt Global Women Mentoring Partnership that held in the USA, both in Washington, D.C. and New York City, as well as Forbes Indonesia Rising Global Stars. To offer getting to know more with Mbok Niluh Jelantik, let's take a moment to watch a video profile of Mbok Niluh Jelantik.
Niluh Jelantik itu adalah perwujudan dari cinta, dari sebuah dedikasi, konsistensi yang kami kerjakan dan menghasilkan sebuah hasil karya yang indah dalam bentuk sepasang sepatu, dan kami panggil dia Niluh Jelantik. Niluh itu lahir dari dari plesetan nama saya sebenarnya Niluh, tapi karena memang background saya adalah marketing, jadi untuk kita memulai sebuah brand itu salah satu persyaratannya memang harus gampang diingat dan enak untuk dilafalkan. Lahirlah Niluh tersebut di tahun 2003. Hingga di tahun 2000 2007, Niluh berkembang, sudah berada di 20 negara, kita sudah memiliki 2 distributor di benua Australia dan juga Eropa, hingga akhirnya kita mengalami permasalahan dengan kedua distributor tersebut, di mana mereka menyarankan dan meminta saya untuk untuk memindahkan produksi kami ke Cina dengan imbalan saya akan mendapatkan persentase di dalam perusahaan tersebut, dan tanpa kita ketahui ternyata kedua distributor tersebut sudah mendirikan perusahaan dengan nama Niluh di negara mereka masing-masing. Saya nggak perlu berpikir dengan produksi di Cina ini. Saya langsung menyampaikan tidak. Untuk saya, di awal perjalanan kami, cita-cita saya sangat sederhana. Kami ingin membuat sepasang sepatu yang pas dan cantik. 4 tahun kemudian cita-cita tersebut telah tercapai. Itu tidak merubah prinsip kami. Jadi cita-cita kami sampai hari ini masih sama. Ingin membuat sepasang sepatu yang cantik, berkualitas, dan tentunya harus dibuat di negara kita tercinta. Niluh Jelantik itu dikenal dengan kenyamanannya. Identik dengan kenyamanan. Klasik dan sangat sederhana, tapi timeless. Jadi koleksi yang di tahun 2000, let's say di tahun 2005 itu kita lahirkan, itu 10 tahun kemudian di tahun 2015 masih menjadi best seller kami. Handmade itu buat Mbak Niluh adalah sebuah ketidaksempurnaan ya, karena yang mengerjakan kan adalah manusianya sendiri. Mereka memiliki memiliki siklus, memiliki mood, memiliki perasaan, memiliki momen-momen yang tidak bisa memang dibandingkan dengan mesin. Tapi karena ini memang buatan tangan manusia, ketidaksempurnaan itulah yang kita tekankan. Kita juga bekerja sama dengan beberapa brand internasional itu untuk membuat proses development, mendesain dan juga memproduksi lini sepatu mereka dengan memberikan brand mereka di atas sepatu tersebut. Nah, brand-brand internasional tersebut mereka akan memilih sepatu tersebut mungkin dibuat di negara sumber fashion. Salah satunya misalnya Italia. Saya secara pribadi memang orangnya cukup saklek. Jadi kalau misalnya tidak mau dibuatkan sepatu dengan ditulis handmade in Indonesia atau handmade in Bali, itu memang kami tidak menerima penawaran dari si pelanggan. Di sini kami menerapkan persyaratan yang cukup berat ya mungkin buat mereka ya. Tapi untuk kami hanya itu yang kami punya. Hanya itu yang bisa kami persembahkan. Jadi kami memiliki rumah kecil di Nilo Jelantik, mengerjakan sepasang sepatu yang cantik. Kenapa harus dihilangkan made in Indonesianya? Salahnya? Untuk saya perempuan masa kini itu adalah seorang yang bisa menjalankan tugas-tugas dan kewajibannya tanpa melupakan haknya, tapi bisa menjalankannya dengan prinsip dan kejujuran.
Wow, ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm welcome to Mbonilu Jelantik. Hello Mbonilu, how are you?
Selamat sore.
Sore.
Kirana, kedengaran?
Ya, kedengaran Ibu.
So, my sincere apology that I'm actually at the restaurants now because we also have another meeting with the BOD of CIMB Niaga Bank, and at the same time I have to fulfill my duty to explain and to give some kind of insight for all of you on the importance of why that you have to register your brand and why that you have to use or work with the professional company to be able to protect what you have built, you know, because learning from our experiences, it costs a lot. When you lost something that you built dearly and you just realize that you are being careless and also not realizing that trademark and branding, brand registration, it is equally important than the income itself, then you have to pay for the consequences, which is losing your brand, losing your company, and then you have to restart again. If only you have the energy to restart, you know, because some of us, we don't have anymore the energy and we just simply give up. And for me, in Bahasa, we say like sayang, you know, sayang sekali. So thank you so much, Kirana. Thank you so much, InCorp Corporation, InCorp Indonesia for the opportunity. I've seen the amazing CEO is already here. Thank you so much for the opening speech, Mr. Vivan Bramantio, and there is Alvareza. There are some dark screen here. I hope you are still joining us. So thank you so much for the opportunity given to us. Thank you so much from my deepest heart. We are just a very simple company, very small company that we've been starting since almost 21 years ago. our company is nothing compared to all those big companies, all over the country. But one thing I can share with you, which is our experience, and I am sure that this experience can be a lesson learned in life. Don't do it the Nilu way. Don't do it. Just don't go there, because if you do it the Nilu way, when she first started the business and she completely forgot that the very first thing that she has to do, which is to register her brand, and she didn't do it, and then she has to face the bankruptcy. She has to face the losing of everything in everything that she has built, and to rebuild it again, it takes time, energy, money, and on top of that, to rebuild again the trust, because once you lose everything, then you have to reintroduce everything again, and luckily for us, we have the trust. So trust is not a problem. But then we have to rebuild our market, because we cannot sell in the same market where we lost our brand, because the consequences is how do you call it, beside the penalty, beside destroying of the shoes that we are already sending. We also have to face the risk that we can go to jail, for example. So I would like to share with you a small story about Nilu Jelantik, how it started, and how she faced the challenges for the very first time, and then the second time, and then the third times, and how she overcome those challenges and be the Nilu Jelantik today, that are still true to what she hold dearly, which is running the company with principle, life principle, and integrity. So
Okay. So thank you so much for your opening, like a small tip of introduction to us. So maybe we could jump into the first question. The first question is actually, as you've mentioned before, that you have built this brand for over 21 years, and especially as a women entrepreneur, what were your challenges and how did you overcome the problems? Especially maybe 21 years ago, it wasn't as open as today, and women has grown a lot since 21 years ago. So what are the differences between starting a brand as a woman during your first time building the Nilu brand and rebranding again as the Nilu Jelantik shoes? Maybe you could share with us a little bit on that.
okay. So when I started the business in beginning of 2003, I already had a background. I already had 7 years of working experiences, and I started from a very low from a very low level job level, which is cleaning service. So my daily duty is to clean. And I was graduated from one of the best school in Bali and decided to move to Jakarta. And then the first year after the uni, I decided to look for a job because I couldn't afford to go back to Bali on my yearly holiday. So I got a first job as an office girl, we called it, but also double the task as a receptionist, a phone operator, and a cashier assistant, secretary assistant, how do you call it, and a reservation. All the office tasks that can be given to me are given to me. So I was 20 years old at the time, and 6 years later, I reached the top position, which is I became the director of an American fashion brand. I became the marketing director of the company. So how can I reach that kind of position in only 6 years of career term, and without using connection, without using knowing who and who and who, because I totally built it alone in Jakarta. The recipe is to accept everything, accept all the responsibility within your limit. So they're all giving me the responsibility, the job task. Even though I didn't know anything about it, I will learn and I will ask question, and it happened over the years. And at the same time, I had to study also, and and with that kind of mentality, I'm able to build my career. I'm able to have what we call how do you call it? What we call the bargain position. So when I was 23 years old, I already reached the management position, and then I graduate afterwards. So this kind of life experiences that I always share with the small business owner, with students in a university, that at the beginning of your life, before starting your own business, if you are given the opportunity to work for other people, do it. But do it with principle and integrity. Don't try to take a job or to accept a job because you think about one day I'm going to run the same business as this person, as my bosses. Don't ever think like that. You just work, do your job, be honest, be loyal, be consistent, and learn a lot. And then by the time you had those kind of, how do you call it, saving, which is financially you are okay, and then knowledge base you're okay, and then you have already the degree that you need, are required to go to another level, then you can talk to your own boss and you tell them, I'm going to go to another step, which is running my own company, moving to a bigger company, or taking a higher position. And I promise you, he or she will become your first supporter. He or she will become your first client. And this is what happened with Nilu Jelantik. So we don't burn the bridge behind us since 95 until today. So all the CEO, all the my big bosses, all the seniors that are becoming part of my life since 95, they are still there supporting me. And when Nilu started, it it started with not naivety, but I how do you call it? I had this dream of building a brand that accepted by Indonesian women, that are high quality, being made in Indonesia, and created by the Indonesian people. So we started that business in 2003. So in theory, Nilu is ready, right, to start her business, because she already had this 6-7 years experience behind her. She already had the tools, the professionality, and once she started in 2003, she should bring that experience with her. But in reality, that is the theory. But in reality, because I was so into our new adventure, I mean, working in the corporation, meeting clients and doing all sort of kind of like a 9 to 5 jobs in Jakarta. You know how it works, right? You tend to make yourself as a machine. Everything is by system, by paperwork, no sign, no contract. You have to need to put your mind into like a legal kind of mind. There is no only shake hand. There is no only gentleman agreement. But when I moved to Bali, then I worked in this fashion company as the marketing director. I'm still using that kind of how do you call it, like administrative legal system that I had. But 1 year later, when I started my own company, I tend to forget that, because I only want to present a beautiful shoes. I use all my experiences to sell, to present the shoes in a way that it can sell, it is easier to sell beautiful things that you can talk about, that you're gonna wear, rather than selling something that you need to, to rebrand again, to do repackaging again, and that is my job. That is my how do you call it? That is my expertise to sell. I'm a salesperson. So in terms of sales, we have no problem. But when it comes to legal standing, the most important part of running a business, starting a business, I completely ignore that. And then I only realize that we have lost everything 4 years later. By then, Nilu is already on 20 countries. We are already in Paris, we are already in London, we are already in South Africa, we are already in Asia, in Australia, in New Zealand, in Europe. We are already in 20 big countries, in the best road, on the best fashion street. And we just realized we cannot sell that shoes anymore because the brand is no longer belong to us. So I take this kind of this experience, and I take fully responsible. I take the full responsibility for that. I don't blame people. I don't blame the person who took the brand. I don't blame the person who decided not to give us back the brand, but I put all the responsibility on myself, that Nilu is being such a stupid person, that she didn't think through. She didn't listen to people. She only wants to make beautiful shoes, that she forget about all the legal part of it. So I believe my little story can be a message. You know, now we have quite a few how do you call it, companies, consulting firm, that we can discuss with, that we can ask question to. Before you decided to go abroad and bringing your brand with you, ask question to that consulting firm. One of the consulting firm that you can ask the question to is the InCorp Indonesia. Am I correct?
Yes.
You go to the office, you can knock at that door and you can ask question. I think asking question is free, right?
Right. Yeah, thank you so much, Bunilo. Actually, your first answer, the answer to our first question also brings us to the second question. So could you maybe explain a bit on what happened with the brand Nilu before it rebranded into Nilu Gelantik? So what happened? What are the details on the shift, the changes that happens on the rebranding?
So we realized that when we lost the brand, it was when we had this exhibition in Paris. The name of the exhibition is Who's Next and Premier Class, which is two exhibition parallel with Paris Fashion Week. So I realized that we no longer hold that brand, because there are two identical sample of what we had that we made in Bali, and the identical sample was there in the exhibition, that we never made that shoes and with the same brand. So I asked our distributor, what is it? I mean, we had all the samples that we sent to Paris, but why you are presenting another shoe which is exactly the same style, the same models, but only different sole. We are only using leather sole, and that shoes are with the rubber sole. And I didn't get the answer that I need to get. And about the same time, we also have a request from our Australian counterpart, our Australian partner, that they have sent us a proposal that they wanted to make Nilu bigger, because we have more requests and more orders. They plan to make Nilu expansion into another product, which is accessories, fashion, clothing, and etc. But I refuse, because we are Nilu, a shoemaker. we are not a jewelry maker. We are not an umbrella maker. So I refused that. And at the same time, I have one problem with two continents. I have problems with Australia. I have problem with Europe. And then it was in the middle of production time. And as much as it is difficult because we didn't have any more time to sell, right? So this is how it works in European market. You present your collection in September in Paris or in London or in Spain. And then you go back to your country and then you started the production in November, October until January. And then you make the delivery 15th of January. And then 15th of February, the summer sale starts. And then 15th of June, sale, discount, big sale, 50% off. That is that is the tradition, the date, the calendar that we have to respect. And the opposite calendar is applicable for Australia, which is when it is summer in Australia, it is winter in France. So I was in France. At the same time, I had this problem with Australia, and then I had the same problem with Europe, and we didn't have a chance to represent our shoes to the new client, right? It means we lost everything. So it hurts. It makes me cry every time I talk about it. But I have to say that. I have to share it with you. You know, when you are a brand, you build something from scratch, and you are becoming one of the most respected brand in the country. Your shoes has been worn by anyone from professional housewife to Hollywood star, movie stars. And then suddenly in one night, you lost everything. So I didn't have a chance to fight. I had 24 hours to take decision whether we continue or we stop. So that one night I used it to have a meeting with the boys, and this is what I told them. Apa sih artinya sebuah nama? What it is so important about the name? We build it, we can rebuild it. I was really broken heart at the time, but I had to show that we are strong, you know, because all the boys, all the shoemaker, they are all parents, they are all a father. There are no women. I'm the only woman in the team. So I have to show them that there are 20, 30 years of experiences that are now fall on the lowest part of the moment of our life, how to just to be able to make them to get up, to stand up. And it was not easy because we didn't even know where we're going to sell, you know. But all I can tell them at the time is, apa artinya sebuah nama. In the roadway, I was telling them this, not the name, okay? So this is what I told them. And the next day, I went from one office to another office. I was visiting all my friends' offices with the measurements, and I instruct them to buy the shoes from us. I contacted all the designers in Bali, the fashion designers in Bali. I told them, you make the shoes, we make your shoes. I don't care what name you want to put on your shoes. And that becoming the word of mouth talk. And that is how we start to rebuild again. Nilu without Nilu, because there's no more Nilu. So Nilu shoes becoming Nicola Finetti brand, Nilu shoes becoming Zimmerman brand, Nilu shoes becoming Jessie Hill brand, Jessica White brand, becoming some of the prominent brand in Europe, in Australia. But for me, it doesn't matter. The most important is we are able to bring the food to our family's plate. The most important is we are able to do the things that we love, and at the same time to be able to hold on to our life principle. So it took 1 year, the no label kind of journey. And then in 2008, I had this visit from our client from Spain who told me this, Nilu, we had a competition in Marbella, in Formentera. We have your shoes, but they still have some of our stock. But at the same time, we have your brand across the street from our shop, selling the shoes 1/3 of the price. The same name, the same brand, the same logo, the same style, and her name is Karen Lunin, and then she told me, I don't care what you're gonna do with your shoes, but you need to do something. You need to put anything. I don't care, but I cannot take the risk to have our shop closing down because I have to compete with the same Nilu, but not the same Nilu because that shoe are being made in China. So so with her insight and also with some advice of a very good friend of mine, and then we decided to create a logo, which is the red shoe, the one that you see in Seminyak and some of our other shop. And then we started the name. I mean, this is not yet reaching the registration process because I was still at the time not confident enough. We are still traumatized, you know. We are very how do you call it? Tidak percaya diri. So is it gonna work? You know, I mean, because you are so used to it with Nilu, and I'm so used to it already working with big brands, you know. So I don't really care about our own, you know, brand anymore. And then it was when some of the boys came to me and told me like this, Mo, when are we going to make Nilu again? I miss our old times, Mo, making all those complicated shoes and sandals. Because all we do now is very simple, it's very basic. We have to follow the color combination of that brand, and Nilu brand is very, how do you call it? Simple, very complicated at the same time, very detailed, and the color is very strong. And that is the how do you call it? That makes Nilu unique. But we buried them. So when the boys came to me, then I was melted, you know. then I decided, okay, let's do something. Let's make you happy. So I went to see my father and discuss with him what should I do because I don't want to use that name anymore. So I proposed to use my last name, my family name, which is Jelantik. Jelantik is known as like a marga, you know, like a last name. But Jelantik also is associated with a national hero. Jelantik also is associated with a scholar, you know, with some big names in art, in culture, and us were born as a Jelantik, but somewhere in some small village. So I don't want to go to jail for using that name and not being able to be responsible. That I don't want any Jelantik clan or family or royal family came to me and asked me question. Hello, what is going on? Why you use our name, which is Jelantik? So I asked my father, and my father my father explained to me one history, which is the history of our ancestor, where we were coming from, who we were actually, something that I never explained until today to anyone, to any media. I never say anything. I never claim anything. I just simply hold the Nilu Jelantik from in my hand, knowing that no Jelantik will ever come to me and question what I have decided. You know what I mean? So, you know, it's a name. The most important is how you are able to hold that name dearly and make the name holder proud of it, right?
Right.
You know, so basically, I think Nilu Jelantik, I think, is one of the most known name as a part of Jelantik. You know what I mean? And we get recognition from the Jelantik family itself themselves. And so yes, so the next step is registration.
Yeah.
Fifan, I don't know when you started your company, the InCorp Indonesia, but I think during the time when I had to shed my tears, I think you were not there yet.
Yeah, most probably, Bonil. It's a long time ago, isn't it?
Yeah, it was 2007. If you were there, I don't think I have to sit down here and to have to tell the story of my life. I think we will be okay by then, not to have facing all this craziness, losing the brand, losing the business, and But I sincerely thank you for providing the platform, the companies, and also the media, and also the services to our Indonesian small and medium enterprises, because in terms of quantity, they are, how do you call it? They are part of what makes Indonesia still stand stronger until today. We are about 60 million, right, in terms of quantity, and I really sincerely believe that, because people think that trademark or putihnya mana? Trademark or registering your brand or licensing your brand and things like that, it costs a lot of money. Therefore, they tend not to ask questions, because for them, oh, how much is the price? How much is it going to cost me? And I don't think we can find how do you call it, like enough information on the website. Because maybe sometimes some companies will say, ask question, contact us and things like that. But I think it is very important to open up communication with Ministry of Trade, Ministry of Cooperation, and also small and medium enterprises, to open up communication with some of big state-owned companies, because the state-owned companies, their main clients are the small and medium enterprises, right? So maybe I think it is nice to open communication, to work together, like for example, like maybe to hold like a festival, InCorp Fest, for example, and then you will invite, like, I don't know, 20 musicians who have problems with copyright or with trademark, or maybe 20 entrepreneurs who have problems with copyright or trademark, who has lost their business in the past or things like that. And at the same time, there will be maybe few hundreds of small and medium enterprises that will be given the facility. Probably they will have to pay or free of charge. That at the same time, these 500 or 1,000 small and medium enterprises who are actually already using social media to sell the product, they can become your future client. Because webinar like this is nice, but I think to hold their product, to give them a big hug, to give them some kind of motivation, I think it will send a different message. You know what I mean? And like, for example, I was in this seminar in Jakarta, which is also the trademark seminar, and I can see the enthusiasm of the participant are very high. And I told them, I think they are mostly a company, like a consulting firm company. And I told everyone, if you have any services that you have to offer, if you have any information that you can give to UMKM, to small and medium enterprises, put it on Instagram, tag Nilu Jelantik. I will repost that for free.
Okay. So once again, thank you, Monilu, for a little introduction of our services. Okay, and then Yeah, so thank you for also sharing your experiences with us, because actually I think a lot of us that we don't really know the history of how Nilu changed to Nilu Gelantic. So we just know that it rebranded, but we don't know the history behind it. And now that we have heard your story and experience, we now realize that it is actually important to trademark your brand, and because it's actually a valuable asset. Yeah, right, Bu Nilu?
There are not many. There are no. How do you call it? I couldn't find any consulting firm at the time. It was. We went back to 2007. I don't think there are many of consulting firm that are actually available for you, because there was no Google at the time. There was no Facebook at the time. There was no social media, and no one is telling you what to do, because you're simply just stuck in your room and like crying the whole night, and you just couldn't think. And 15 years later, we are talking on webinar. We are talking on Google Meet, and the more technology we have, the more advanced technology facility we are holding in our hand. It is actually uh, good and bad at the same time.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have a competition 15 years ago, 20 years ago. We didn't have competition in terms of who are the most which are the most beautiful brand of Indonesian shoes. We don't really have much competition. But today you have more competition, not only in Indonesia and also outside part of Indonesia. And I think for companies it is very very important, before you start doing the sales process, before you start pitching your product to your first client. I think all before that process, the first thing you have to do is to register your brand, any name you want to put on your creation or your product. I think it is the first step, the first very important step, and probably will cost you money. Probably you have it will become your most expensive investment, but it will worth it. It is worth it, and
Agreed.
in 1 year, in 10 years, in 50 years, that brand will become valuable, and I don't know. You see Gojek, 5 billion rupiah becoming $5 billion. So register your name. Very important.
Okay, thank you, Bu Nilu. Now we have Pak Reza as a senior consultant of InCorp Indonesia, who has experience in handling business incorporation practices in general, and also intellectual property rights in specific. So maybe Pak Reza, could you please elaborate on the consequences of not registering a trademark in Indonesia, and also the potential risks that businesses might encounter by not safeguarding their brand?
Okay. So thank you for all attendees to coming to this webinar. So yeah, allow me to provide some information. So regarding the trademark, is anything related to symbol, design, word, phrases that can make your company's brand is unique and extraordinary. So for those reasons, Indonesia is the country that providing the first step fill in order to secure the company brands businesses in Indonesia. So what are the consequences? First, the possibilities leading to crime from patent infringement to taking the company's name without consent and make a confusion from the customers in order for them to gain the trust of the business owners to the customers. Okay. Secondly, regarding the potential risk, what has been done by Mbok Nilu case studies are very unique, and that's how it works in order for you to secure your brand in Indonesia and also all over the world. So the reason why there are potential risks that might face for your brand, for your company's services, products, first because the limited legal protections. Registering a trademark provides you with exclusive rights to use trademark in connection with your goods or services. And this might have to rely to the common law rights in Indonesia, which can be harder to enforce compared to the registered rights if, let's say, your products are using by other competitors. Secondly, difficulty in enforcement. Why I say that? Because without registering the trademark of your brand, you have to enforce your rights against infringers becomes more challenging, exhausted, and also high cost, like Bonilo said. So the potential risk is limited legal resource. Why I say that? Because trademark registration provides a stronger legal foundation for taking actions against infringers. You can sue them, you can provide a lawsuit to the lawyers, for example. Then you might have fewer options for pursuing legal remedies if you don't register your. And for the number third, loss of business identity, like what Bonilo said in the Bonilo's case studies. Why? The trademark is an important aspect of your business identity and brand recognition. Previously, Bonilo already create Nilu's project, Nilu's brand that has been known in Bali, for example, and now in Indonesia. And for those reasons, without a proper registration, yeah, the case study that Bonilo has provided to us when the partners from overseas spotted the competitors creating another shop with called Nilu, that would be very hard for Bonilo to adhere. Why? Because it will create a brand confusion. Because without registering the trademark, other businesses can use a similar or identical name, logo, slogan, and leading to customer confusion. And fortunately, in this case study, Bonilo successfully gained trust, not only from the customers, but also for all partners that Bonilo has. And the fourth, the potential risk is loss of market. Why? Because unauthorized use of trademark by competitors can lead to confusion among consumers, potentially causing them to purchase products or services from your competitors unknowingly. For example, this can result in a loss of market, for example, revenue, and then this potential risk of brand confusion can lead to lost sales as customers may unintentionally purchase products or services from competitors. So this can be one of a huge step back if a company doesn't registering the brand and make sure that the brand that they registered are unique. And last but not least, one of the most important part is high legal costs. Why? Because while the cost for trademark registration is very huge in Indonesia, and then it takes time to go to registering your brand in Kantor Merek in Haki. It would take 6 to 12 months and most likely to up to 24 months for registering your brand. And why I said high legal costs, because for example, if you are not fully registered your brand, then you have to make sure and you have to think about rebranding costs. If you discover, for example, another business is using a similar trademark, you might be forced to rebrand. Okay, so then the second one is legal dispute. Why? Because you can claim that this brand, these products, services attached to the brand is yours, but unfortunately, because you don't have legal aspect in order to secure and protect your brand and embed it to your product according to the classification, then you cannot claim that freely. So that will be one of the disadvantages of the company that doesn't register the trademark registration in advance. And weaken brand value. Why I said weaken brand value? Because an unregistered trademark is more vulnerable to delusion instead of the brand that has been registered. Why? Because if you don't register your brand that embedded to your product, you have inability to protect domain names. Trademark registration can provide a stronger position when dealing with domain name disputes. Without registration, your ability to claim domain names related to your brand could be compromised, easily compromised. And it will lead into a higher legal cost for you to reinvent your brand. And then inconsistent brand identity. If other businesses use similar names or logos, it can lead into an inconsistent brand identity, and it making it harder for customers to identify and remember your products or services. For example, like Three Stripes. When you see Three Stripe, you know exactly where it comes from. You know exactly where the factory is. You know exactly where the stores are, and then you can easily chip in. Even though it is e-commerce, you cannot easily point it out that this is the official store. But once it is a Three Stripe appears, then you can know that it is original, especially including the brand itself. So that is the one of the potential risks that might have for your brands. So thank you, Bonilu, for sharing your case study with us. That will be very great influence for us in order to start the business. And don't forget to register your company brands, names, logos to secure that your products are there with you all time and for the growing up of your business. I think from my side is that. Thank you, Bu Kirana.
Thank you so much, Fariza. Actually, it's very insightful. Everything that you have explained is very concise and also insightful. And our key takeaways have actually been very enlightening because from Pak Reza's informative talk, we understand that trademark registration serves the public's best interest, despite the potential complexities and also the duration of the registration journey itself. Business owners must adhere to the procedures of registering their brand to guarantee that their brand to guarantee their brand's legitimacy to the Indonesian market. So maybe we could ask a very simple and short question to both Pak Reza and Bu Nilu. But seeing that we are a little bit behind on time, maybe the suggestion could be very short and concise. Yeah. Firstly, for Bu Nilu, maybe Bu Nilu and Pak Reza, could you share a short suggestion for entrepreneurs about trademark registration? Maybe we could start with Bu Nilu first.
Regarding the trademark registration for all small and medium enterprises, because this is the area that that I'm familiar with. Please find a company that can give you a complete information from A to Z. So I think it is better to meet your brand consultant rather than meeting your lawyer, right? It's better to have meeting and in an office rather than in court, right?
Right.
Well, right now, me myself, I'm receiving some somasi letter just to let you know. Like now today, I'm talking to you about trademark legalization, and at the same time, I receive some somasi letter for voicing the woman rights that are being abused by an expat. So instead of apologizing of what he did, which is a violent act that are quite severe. Instead of apologizing to the victims and also to the family, instead of doing that, the police are already on hand. Instead of doing that, the lawyer team sent me a somasi letter. Well, anyway, intermezzo. So, so my suggestion is find a company that can give you a full insight why I should register my brand. Like, for example, like what Reza has been explaining. If you don't do it, then this is all the consequences that you have to face in the long run. And it is better that you face it today when you just started, you get prepared, rather than when the company is already, how do you call it, growing. And you're not only losing your brand, but also more possible losing the business and everything that you have built. So find a company that can give you all the information, that can act as your assistant, like legal assistant. So you are busy building your companies, building your brands, taking care of your clients, and the legal part of the brand, you can pass it away. You can give it to these companies.
All right.
As I said before, of course, it's gonna cost money, but maybe there are some other add-on, that can be also given, because not all UMKM we will be able to pay certain amount to register their brand, but maybe there are certain packets that can be offered. So then they can think about, oh, if I pay this amount of fee, then I can save 1 month of my time. 1 month of my time maybe gonna make me an income of, let's say, I don't know, 200 million rupiah or 100 million rupiah. But then these services cost me 20 million rupiah, for example, like that. So they needed to be taught that way, not like, oh,
Yeah.
mahal sekali, expensive, but they needed to be shown the comparison. You know what I mean? So because in Indonesia, either we use it, either we don't use it, either people are praising for it, either people are skeptical about it. There are nothing in between. So here, I'm very open, and I welcome InCorp Indonesia to, when you use your social media and you post your services, and also some kind of like a success story, a failure story. Like for what we have is a failure story. It's a sad story that not to be experienced by anybody else. So if your marketing team or your team are posting anything on your social media, please tag Anil Julantik on your story, on your feed, on your reels. Then we will repost it, and hopefully we have about 500,000 kesayangan today, and there are lots of them are UMKM, women entrepreneur, students, university students, and independent workers. So hopefully the message will arrive, and
Noted. Thank you so much for your support.
Indonesia is saya titip mereka ya, Vivan. That is the bahasa. Saya titip mereka ya. Jadi tidak mengalami seperti apa yang kami alami. And I will also, Kirana, please pass my phone number. And I would love to have the material of Vivan and also Reza, so I can learn about it. I can read it when I'm home, and I can write a small message based on your presentation, and to let people know that, so I can introduce you in the proper way. You know what I mean? So my phone number is 0817
0817
567
567
888.
888. All right. Thank you, Bunilu, for your support. I am actually one of your kasayangan on Instagram.
Thank you so much. All the very best for all of you. Pray for us in Bali. There are so many things we have to face right now. And right now I have the team of the BOD of CIMB Niaga sitting in front of me waiting to kidnap me to another room. So
Okay.
thank you so much for all the participants. Vivan, all the very best.
Thank you, Monilo.
It's a long process. It's a long battle that you have to go through. Also Reza and Kirana. And everyone. Big
Thank you,
kiss.
Bruno.
Bye
Thank you,
bye.
Thank
Diana.
you. Thank you,
Bye bye. Thank
Willie.
you, Monilu.
Thank you. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Okay, so maybe we can carry on with Pa Reza. What are your suggestions for entrepreneurs in Indonesia on trademark registration?
Yes. For our suggestion, for my suggestion personally, if you are just started the company, then you have to register your brand embedded to your product as soon as possible. In advance, that would be great. But if you're already running the company, you have to check thoroughly to the hug office, and then we can assist you on what's on that, and we can check your classification of your products or services that can be registered in the trademark registration. And then after that, once we have the information for you, then we can move forward into the process to make sure that there will be no objection during the application process. Because please be advised, during the process, it will take time after the announcement. And once the announcement is issued, we have to wait until if there are any objections that are coming in order to, okay, this is claiming from other company or brands that already registered previously or have a similarity. So for those reasons, we inform you, we would like to encourage you to register your brand and your product as soon as possible. And that InCorp Indonesia is ready to serve you in order to do the trademark registration for your company brand and services.
All right. So thank you once again, Pareza, for the valuable suggestion. And I think from our chat box, we see that there are some questions that are interesting for you, Pareza. Maybe you could help to answer them. Let's start with the first question. What steps can businesses take to protect their trademarks in the digital realm?
Okay, thank you very much for the questions. For the digital realm, there are several steps that you need to pursue it. For example, the trademark enforcements, like the case of, if you take a look on Starbucks that having Frappuccino, and the other competitors is using, if I'm mistaken, Frappuccino, if I'm mistaken. So similar to the what has been done by Starbucks. So in order for that, because once there are a similarity coming to the e-commerce platform, social media, internet sphere, that it will bring a confusion to the customers, because did I going to buy, for example, Frappuccino, green tea Frappuccino, or the other one? So in order for Starbucks to make sure that the customers are always looking for them, so they can, for example, in much the same way, you can view social media activity in the internet, and then you can check with your intellectual property lawyers, and then changing the hashtag perhaps, okay, that confusing is similar, in order to lead the new process, in order to ban or to make sure that the Fredocino drink from the competitors in New York Coffee Company, for example, can be lesser than the Frappuccino Starbucks has. So for those reasons, the several changes in the method of marketing in social media can be used and utilized directly. So from our side, from my standpoint, that can be used for to make sure that the trademark process, your brand is going to be secured in the social media.
Okay, thank you, Pareza. And the second question is from Tianchi. We are planning on registering our trademark, but we found out that our brand name was already registered in one of the three classes. What are the ways for us to still have our brand name registered in all three classes?
Okay, thank you for the questions. For that process, we have to check thoroughly what are the similarities? For example, if it's a name, if it's a logo, or the classifications of the product that has been registered in the trademark registration process. After we have those factors, then we can take a look whether it is very possible to continue further for the application, or we can recommend to change to make some revisions regarding your brand logo, name on it, font of the brand name, for example. Then once it is sufficient, then it makes sure there are no similarity attached between those factors, then we can continue forward to process the applications according to the three classes that already registered previously. Because this process can also have a trademark appeal process once the objection comes from the previous brand. So as long as there are no similarities between those factors, that will be fine.
Okay. So maybe the suggestion was to make minor changes, yeah, Pariza.
That's correct.
Okay, and oh, actually, we have a question for Bunilu, but Bunilu unfortunately is busy and has left the meeting. But we have other questions actually for Pareza again. Are there any restrictions on trademark registration for certain types of goods or services?
Okay, for goods, it's technically based on the classifications that has been ruled by the Kantor Merek, by Haki. So we have to check what are the products. For example, let's say you are handcrafted wood carving. So we have to check the wood carving itself. What is the classifications and what are the products that will be embedded by this wood carving? So once we have known that informations, then we can continue to process forward. Otherwise, you have to change what are the minority that you need to revise. For example, let's say your brand is using a geographic name of the word, for example. So you have to change that because it is very similar. And then secondly, for example, the other example that might, let's say you are to produce your product is ice cream. So you are using sweet ice cream and you are trying to registering the sweet into a trademark registration. We would advise you to change the sweet, the word sweet inside the brand name of your product. Instead of using sweet, we can try to find another options, viable options that can be used for you for your trademark registration. So please refrain from that. And then secondly, the thirdly, don't use the long names on it. For example, your company name, including your addresses, because your company name can be rebrand, your addresses can be changed easily, and the trademark validity is 10 years. So you have to be careful about that. That's from my standpoint.
All right, thank you, Pariza. Actually, I think maybe there are questions that the participants might have, but maybe are a bit afraid to ask, yeah, because it's regarding fees. So, what are the fees that is involved in filing and also maintaining a trademark in Indonesia? Does maintaining a trademark means that the person who registers it have to pay monthly to upkeep the trademark, or how does it go around in Indonesia?
Okay, thank you for the questions, Bukirana. InCorp Indonesia can also assist for the trademark registration process. It will cost $500 for local entity, local brand, and for the foreign investor, foreign company who doesn't have any legal entity in Indonesia and wants to register their brand, their products, and also let's say, any slogans that the company wants to have in Indonesia to spread the brand awareness in Indonesia, we can assist with the fee, with the structure fee, $700 for one application process. So during the process, we will provide the legal consultations before, and we will provide the document assessment before the applications. And then once it is sufficient enough, then we will continue the process to the filling process. After the filling process, it will continue to the formality process. So this formality check will be provided by the Kantor Merek, and then after that, we will continue the process for the substantial check administrative. So up until now, after reaching the substantial, the Haki will announce it in Indonesia. They will inform that there are new brands that register currently processing. If there are any similarities, feel free to object. So that's why we have to careful enough since the beginning for the documents, the brand, the logo, the slogan, even the font of the name should be considered. After that, we can continue process. And please don't be worried. We can also provide the assistance. If there are any objections, we can provide assistance to do the trademark appeal for our clients. So we make sure that the process of trademark registration can be run smoothly. And then once it is issued, we will inform accordingly. So that's from my side, Bukirana.
Okay, thank you, Pariza. So maybe you could give us a short answer on actually how long does it take for the whole trademark registration process. That will it take more than a year, or maybe there is a potential that it could be longer than that, or even if everything goes smoothly, how short can it be, the duration of the registration process?
Thank you, Bukirana. For the registration, we will take approximately 12 months estimation time, and the longer is 24 months for about 2 years. So after 2 years maximum, the Haki office will announce whether the registration process are accepted or rejected. Once it is rejected, then we will start from the beginning again. But once it is approved, then the Haki office will issue the certificate for us.
Okay, so what are the reasons on why Haki might reject our submission? Is it because there are other brands, or maybe what are other reasons that might happen?
Okay, thank you for the questions. First, during the formality check, if the documents are not sufficient enough. Second, during the substantive analysis by Haki, perhaps documents are not sufficient. Or second, there are any objections provided by other company brands. And then thirdly, the client is lost in trademark appeal due to similarity. So for those reasons, because Haki office in Indonesia is following first step, first serve in Indonesia. So the first brand that has been registered have the opportunity to secure and protect their brand from any other competitors that they want to steal their ideas. I hope it answers your question.
All right. Thank you, Pariza. Oh, wow, we have Bunilu joining us again today. Thank you for rejoining our meeting, Bunilu. We have one question. Maybe if you're a bit tight on schedule, you could help to answer this one question, and then we could take a photo. So, Bunilu, the question is, what are the challenges that you face when your local companies start to expand to international market other than the trademark issues?
Hi there again. It's me again. So besides trademark issues that we have we finally solved by registering our brand, there are certain important part that you have to consider when you decided to enter international market. And number one is languages. The minimum requirement when you decided to enter the international market is you need to be able to speak the bare minimum of English, you know, because you will need to communicate with your potential clients. You will need to also to introduce your product in terms of making catalog and also lookbook, etc., in their languages. When we first started in 2003, we didn't have that kind of like what you call it translation tools. We didn't have an apps that where you can make your presentation in less than 10 minutes, you know. We only have, let's say, a PowerPoint at the time. And but we do have the basic part of building a brand, which is selling. You know, at the end of the day, as beautiful as your product can be, as high quality your creation can be, but if you don't know how to sell it, then it become useless, right? So we had that, and we are able to speak a very little okay English. So I don't speak English fluently, but I have the confidence. So people, they don't see my limitation as a problem. They don't see my limitation as something that they can complain. They can, you know, give me a correction, because at the same time I present the product in English languages, but then I have this amazing creation that I present. So they are already overwhelmed with this, and they forgive all the rest. You know what I mean? So the minimum is basic English or any languages you can learn. Depends on the market. Depends on which market you want to be. And the second, of course, a very good quality, not to be questioned product. The product is so good. It's so, how do you call it? That the client, they don't have any question. What is the flow in your product? You know, because you will have some. You know, like for example, our shoes. Of course, when your shoes are getting beaten by your dogs or by your crossover by your cars, it's gonna be broken. But at the same time, with word of mouth, most of the clients can pass another message. Nilu shoes is a lifetime guarantee. And then they started to compare the shoes with television, with the phone, with the mobile phone. Oh my God! When I bought this electronic part or even other fashion product, I only have maybe 1 year guarantee, maybe 2 years. But with Nilu, it's a lifetime guarantee. So you need to have the highest level of services, not only in terms of high quality product, but also how you present the product. And this cannot be separated. You are the brand. The brand is you. You know what I mean? And you need to be able to speak about your brand inside and out. That you live with it, you sleep with it, you wake up with it, you eat with it, you have breakfast with it, you know, and hafal luar kepala, and and then you can tell them the limitless the limitation of your product. For example, if you have the back problem, then you're not supposed to wear higher than let's say 4 inches of high heels, something like that, and all that kind of little details that can give a unique value to your brand or to your creation. And number 3, professionalism. Fulfill your promises. When you said that the shoes or anything that you present to your future client, when you say the delivery time will be 90 days, make it in 80 days, you know. And when you have to discuss with your production team, knowing that you have to send your shoes in 90 days, you tell them in 70 days. Therefore, you have 10 days each bumper. You don't say to your staff 90 days and you don't say to your client 90 days. So at the end of the day, you will have a satisfied client, and you have a happy teamwork. You know what I mean? Because they will not be like getting all the complaint when they are running behind the production. So this is the professionalism I talk about, and the sales after service is included. The great packaging is included, because if you don't present your product in the certain way that match your price, then you are not professional. And number 5, this is also a very important part where we are finally still able to stand strong to do the very same thing that we've been doing for the last 20 years, is the life principle and integrity. So, of course, beside the good product, the ability to communicate in the languages that your clients has, and also the trademark registration, everything is safe. You have all the legal standing that you need to be able to sell your product abroad and also in Indonesia, and you need also to have this life principle and integrity. Because why? Because the very first reason when you started the business, what is the reason you started the business? Do you want to help more people? Do you want to make more money while helping more people? Do you want to share your knowledge? At the same time, when you are able to reach certain position or certain level of your life, you know when to say when enough is enough, then you decided to giving it forward. Or do you want to keep on going and making more and more sales, and all you need to do is to make more income, more sales, because you want to have all those dreams that the people you are working for, they are all being fulfilled. It is all up to you. Those are all the dreams that you have, certain dreams, different dreams. I want to be able to have a private car or private jet, or want to travel once a year around the world. This is all the dream that you have to fulfill. But at the same time, how are you going to reach that dreams? Are you able to hold everybody's hand, reaching higher part, while bringing all the rest of your team, your clients, your supplier, your consultant, all also reach the higher level? Maybe not the same level as you, but gradually, eventually, they will be there with you. Or are you the kind of person who will say, I'm me, this is all about me, my business, my income, my revenue, and blah, 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 and I don't care about the rest? They are all in the process that you have the decision to take which parts you are going to take. And for me, we know when to say enough is enough. We know that Nilu Jelantik will stay small and beautiful. We know that Nilu Jelantik being a home, a little home that are highly respected by thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of people that look up to us. And then we are able to pass our message. And at the same time, of course, we are still able to take good care of our team. We are still able to keep the very same team who are joining us 21 years ago until today, that we call each other 4L, lo lagi. The very same person who who I was sharing my like Samir, Samir rambut. I put all the dye on their hair, like becoming brown, becoming, I don't know, light brown. And now everybody is in the race to put the black smear, you know. This is how Nilu Jelantik is. So 4+1, which is the life principle integrity, this is the very basic thing in life, that you can be a multi-billion company, you can be staying small and still have a big smile every morning when you wake up. It is all in your hand, and this is what we've been doing 20 years with Nilu Jelantik, and this is what I've been doing for the last probably 45 years in my life, because you know, before 5 years old you don't really know what integrity means, but you're doing it anyway. So yeah, these 5 basic thing, and I promise you, everywhere, at every destination, when you arrive, if you can do this 4 part, and then the last part, which is life principle and integrity, and one of them being a good citizen, giving a good example, doing your duty as a citizen, not only complaining about the broken road, but you refusing to pay your tax. You know what I mean? When you pay your tax and comply with everything, all the rules, you basically can insult everybody. You basically can complain to everybody. You basically can send open letter to everybody, from the president to his aides, all the minister, but within the law regulation. So this is what we are doing, and yes, Nilu Jelantik is not only about a pair of shoes that fits and becoming a part of the everyday life of Indonesian woman, but Nilu Jelantik is also becoming a standard on how to run a small business with principle and integrity. Thank you so much, Kirana. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bunilo. Please don't leave for a bit because we will take a picture. We will snap a quick photo. So for the operator, please, you could take the floor and instruct us, maybe count down for the pictures. For everyone else, maybe you could turn on your camera.
And FIFA, we should keep in touch. Anything about your companies, please share with us at Nilu Jelantik. We have 1 million kesayangan between Facebook and Instagram. You won't regret it.
Yeah, of course, Bonilo. Very inspiring.
Okay, for the operator, I think you could count down for us since
here
doing this shot. Yeah.
Jadi patung.
Okay, I think everyone has their cameras on already. Let me check. Yeah, I think almost everyone.
1, 2, cheers.
Okay. Okay, all is good. Okay, thank you so much, Monilu, for coming in, joining us today.
Kirana, David, Bella, Indah.
Thank you, Bonilo.
Sukses.
Thank you so much, Bonilo.
Salam sayang, with pleasure. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Okay, so to move on to the next agenda, we actually have selected the lucky winners to get our door prizes. Maybe we could show the screen and we could see who are the lucky winners today. Okay, and the lucky winners are, congratulations, Stanchi and Indah Ramadanti. So please make sure to leave your contact on the chat box below. So you could leave your phone number and also your email, and our team will contact you. Okay, so the winner announcement actually marks the end of our agenda today. To commemorate today's webinar, we have already taken a pic, so maybe you could see our Instagram or LinkedIn and maybe spot a photo of you smiling on our Instagram and social media page. Okay. With that, I'd actually like to bring today's session to a close officially. And on the screen in front of you, we have our contact number, our address, and also our website. If you have anything else that you want to ask, or if you have trademark questions, feel free to ask away. Okay, thank you again for joining the session. Stay tuned for our next webinar in our Indonesia 5.0 Navigating Through Business Expansion series. And with this, I'd like to mark the end of today's session. Thank you for participating and have a nice day. See you, everyone.